So I'd like to start. First, I'm going to call this debate to order on the resolution resolved. America's local governments should defund police departments and support alternative programs for public safety. And so I'm looking for a first speech in the affirmative. So go ahead and raise hands if you want to give an affirmative speech. And I think we're going to go with Amir. Amir, go ahead.
How y'all doing? My name is Amir Zendanam. Pleasure to meet y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Madam Chair, thank you so much for having me. I am the CEO and formulation scientist of an optimal health company called Specker. We focus on CBD and other optimal health-based ingredients lists. And I have an argument that supports defunding the police, however, in a way where I believe that everybody can find a little bit of common ground here. And I just want to ask y'all a few questions just to think about. When we talk about socialized healthcare and socialized education, we're immediately painting a picture of something negative, inefficient, high cost. So the way that I look at this issue is from a very economic standpoint. And from my studies of economics, what I've learned, and what you all probably know as well, is that monopoly services do not provide the most efficient goods and services for humanity. And when I think defund the police, what I'm thinking of is to transition a lot of that money into the market so a lot of these services can be handled by the market economy. Now, we see many private security firms in neighborhoods that patrol extremely efficiently. They keep things real safe. So in my mind, I believe that we should start transitioning to a more market-based model, because right now we're in an environment where so many non-violent offenses have become criminalized that it puts the police that we have today in today's environment in high-risk situations because they are tasked as a job to criminalize things like cannabis. And when we look at the war on drugs and the cannabis arguments, we're seeing cannabis being legalized all across the country right now, being regulated by the government. And the way I see it is that, well, if that's the case, and so much money is being used by police to enforce things like petty cannabis crimes, then if we just took funding away from certain things like cannabis enforcement, then that technically defunds the police drastically to an era where, you know, a Karen, about 30 years ago, you were a police officer, and in that time, there was not this much money from local, state, and federal agencies flooding into the local police departments. And from my take on it, you know, growing up in America, I was born and raised in California, and I got a firsthand look on being born in the 80s and seeing how the police force just started getting more and more money. So, you know, another thing that I want to discuss is this community model that people keep talking about. And I think that the community model has a very bad rap. So the way that I look at a community-based model is that we do community business-based models. So what we're doing is very similar to the status quo that we already have in many communities across America who hire private security companies that many of them are former military and former police officers, and they work highly efficiently. So I believe that we should be transitioning more to this style, and I think that this is a position that we can all find common ground on. And if we do that, because right now there's a bunch of different arguments, but my goal in life is always to find common ground with everybody, because we can always find something that we agree on. Even if we disagree 99% of the time, there's still 1% of something we can all agree on. So let's focus on that. So thank you all so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Oh, hooray. Jazz hands. Yes, so creative and so, yes, energetic. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes. So are there questions for the speaker? And the answer is yes, there are. There are lots of hands.
Hello, Madam Speaker and everybody. I am just interested in a couple of questions to the speaker. The first one is that should we follow the same model of privatization of the use of force? Because basically we're talking about privatization of use of force here. So is that model would be applicable to the military, for example, as well? And the other question is, I can't see the connection between defunding and making something legal. So is that more of a legal issue as opposed to a funding issue? Thank you.
Right. Great. Go
Fantastic
ahead.
questions. So yes, I believe that if in our minds we already believe that the market provides the best quality goods and services for the most affordable price at the safest rates possible, then moving into a privatized model over the next few decades, as you know, we're going through this new awakening where so many people across the world are connected through things like Zoom that we're on right now. Like, this is amazing that we have hundreds of people here, you know, so this is shifting the conversation in a way where, well, if, you know, I want to see a model where I can go choose security on Yelp. You know, not tomorrow, but this is a business model that should be built. As Americans, we are the leaders on the free market system, and I believe that we should continue growing on our culture of dominating free market activism and leading the way for that model. The other question was, yes, if we legalize these industries and these nonviolent crimes, what happens is the federal government and the state government does not fund the local governments to enforce those laws. And that is typically what is happening right now.
Well done. Very impressive.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with that, the speaker is thanked. I really wish I could call on all of you. I know that a lot of people have, I'm sure, very good questions for Amir, but yeah, unfortunately, we just have to keep chugging. So, jazz hands for Amir one more time. Yes. Yes.